The Los Angeles Police Protective League is the union for all the LAPD officers. There's 9,500 of them here in Los Angeles, and they've decided to endorse Rick Caruso as mayor. We're going to talk now to the union president, Craig Lally, to see why it was Rick and not maybe another candidate, Joe Buscaino, who is a former cop. Craig, how are you?
I'm great, sir. Thank you for letting me be on your show today.
All right, yeah. Why Rick Caruso?
Well, I think I can sum it up in a few things he said at his when he came in for an endorsement. First of all, he went before police officers, sergeants, detectives, lieutenant ranks. He came in for an interview. They unanimously decided to go with Rick Caruso after hearing all 7 or 8 people coming in for the endorsement for mayor. So some of the things that stuck in my head when he did do his presentation. He's not in this for next political appointment. He's here to try to fix the city of Los Angeles. You know, and I know a lot of these politicians come in. They run for their first term, and they're either looking to run for re-election or their next rung in the ladder, some other political position.
So, like Garcetti running for president, right?
Right. And, what struck me is his opponents in this race have been in charge from 10 to 20 years and have not fixed anything, any of the L.A. problems, the main ones being crime, homelessness, and corruption. So he's kind of an out-of-the-box guy. He's not a politician by any stretch. He's running for office for $1. He doesn't need this job. He's doing it for the right reasons because he wants to fix this city. He's had a reputation of working on big projects. Obviously, you guys know that. He's a manager. He's truly got the resources to fund a campaign. And when he was a police commissioner, he was successful because during the time when he was the president of the police commission, crime was down 37%. And also, he supported the rank and file. And at the time, he got us out of the consent decree, which was held over our head for 6.5 years. So I think he's going to be he's an outstanding candidate for mayor. I think hopefully will be the next mayor. And those are some of the reasons that the PAC committee and the board of directors decided unanimously to endorse Rick Caruso.
Is this any kind of diss at Joe Buscaino, or you just thought Rick was a better choice?
Well, like I said, this was a recommendation of the PAC committee, which is the police officers, unanimously. And, a lot of the concerns were Joe never really articulated a plan how to win or raise money necessary to be competitive at this race. He spent most of his time attacking Rick Caruso instead of explaining his vision and not going after Karen Bass, which we all know is the defund the police candidate in this race. So he's been running for a year. The last poll I saw, he was at 4%, which is not good. And I know Joe will support the rank and file. He always has. Hopefully he always will. But we just felt that Mr. Caruso has the resources to get to the finish line and win this race.
Let's talk about Karen Bass, because while she's been around a long time, I don't think most people know what she's really about. What is your opinion of her in regards to funding the police and letting the police do their job properly?
Well, she was a big defunder about a year and a half ago, and we have the evidence to back it up on dates and times. A big advocate of that. I think she's changing her tune a lot because that's very bad for her if she runs on that premise. I know Black Lives Matter is mad at her because she's changing the tune and wants more police, which you know and I know is very bad to say that to Black Lives Matter.
Do you think she means it, that she would govern that way, or she's just saying it, she's lying in order to try to reduce the friction while she's running?
She has no past history of supporting the police, ever, okay? She's a 20-year politician. She has no record of supporting the police on any basis. Her area, where she is, as a congresswoman, is one of the most crime-ridden areas in the city, one of the most places where there's the most homeless. I don't know if she's ever, I think there was one tweet one time talking about the homeless issue. I mean, she's just not able to do this job. And like I said, and even in Congress, I think the only thing we found was that she named a post office after Marvin Gaye. That's the only thing on record she's ever done.
Oh, gee, literally. Huh? Well, John was joking about that the other day.
I'm encouraging people to research her, not only in the Assembly to see what kind of bills she voted for, but what kind of bills she came up with. And the only one we found in Congress was the Marvin Gaye naming of a post office. We couldn't find anything else.
What did you make of that debate? What did you make of that debate the other night with those protesters who were just screaming at all the candidates because they all support more officers at some level?
Well, obviously Mr. Caruso was not at that debate, thank God for him, because you know how the narrative changes when you let those lunatics in the room?
Yes.
And then the talk is all about the lunatics in the room, not who did good, who did bad, who answered the questions the best. So, I'm a strong proponent of don't let crowds in these rooms for these debates because you never really accomplish anything.
I agree. They should just do it. You know what? They should do it in a television studio. But I think the days of letting crowds in should be over because there's no way to screen out the lunatics. And yeah, then the idiot media, all they do is they run clips of the people screaming, and they don't even represent normal people. They just represent these extremist groups.
Right, or even people applauding, but that doesn't tell you anything either because some people can just pack the room with their supporters. So, right, you're right. They probably should not do that in the next format for these debates.
Yeah, and so I thought it was worthless, to be honest with you. That whole thing was worthless. Didn't help anybody to find out who the best candidate is for mayor.
Yeah, but Karen Bass is saying things like, oh, people don't feel safe, and I do support maybe more officers, but you're not buying any of this, huh?
Absolutely not. Like I said, you've got to go into these people's history and see what they said and done in the past, and then you could pretty much know where they're going to go in the future. I know they look at polls tremendously, and when the polls tell them that, defunding the police is a very bad idea, or no police is a very bad idea, they're not going to say that.
Going back to Rick Caruso, who your organization is endorsing, when he was president of the police commission, that was a difficult time. Like you said, it was coming out of the consent decree. And the consent decree was related to which situation? Was that the Rampart situation?
No, that was mostly, most of it was after Rodney King.
It was still Rodney King.
Yeah, Rodney King. Some of it was Rampart, but it was a 6.5-year albatross around these police officers' necks because they could not do their job, and crime was out of control. You remember, I've been on this job 41 years, and it was very, very bad back then, similar to what's going on now. But yeah, it was, and like I said, when he became president of the police commission, crime went down. Bernie Parks was no longer the chief, which was a very good thing because, in my opinion, he was the worst chief in the history of the LAPD. And so he was quite involved back then as a police commissioner.
What do you think Rick Caruso will use the LAPD for in terms of a problem like the homeless? Any thoughts there?
No, you know what? To be honest with you, on fixing these problems, the best thing to do would be to ask him these questions. I hope you bring him on the show sometime.
Oh, we'll have him on, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to answer questions how people are going to fix stuff because they're the ones that will have to come up with the plans on fixing it. We can make recommendations, which is fine because probably nobody knows more about dealing with the homeless than the people that have to deal with the homeless. And unfortunately, LAPD's got to deal with the homeless issues because of all the narcotic activity going on, all the mentally ill that's going on. So unfortunately, we're stuck with dealing with all this, but he's going to have to talk to experts because what's going on right now, gentlemen, is not working. You know that, and I know that. It's gotten 10 times worse. So that's why I think he's going to hire the best and the brightest to try to look at solving some of these problems.
All right, Lieutenant Craig Lally, thanks for talking to us.